bar is crowded, full of students determined to have a good time. There's some indie crap thumping over the sound system, and the dance floor is crowded with heaving bodies. It makes me feel old. She's here somewhere. Elliot has followed me in through the front door. "Do you see her?" he shouts over the noise. Scanning the room, I spot Catherine Kavanaugh. She's with a group of friends, all of them men, sitting in a booth. There's no sign of Anna, but the table is littered with shot glasses and tumblers of beer. Well, let's see if Miss Kavanaugh is as loyal to her friend as Anna is to her. She looks at me in surprise when we arrive at her table. "Catherine," I say by way of greeting, and she interrupts me before I can ask her Anna's whereabouts. "Christian, what a surprise to see you here," she shouts above the noise. The three guys at the table regard Elliot and me with hostile wariness. I was in the neighborhood. "And who's this?" She smiles rather too brightly at Elliot, interrupting me again. What an exasperating woman. "This is my brother, Elliot. Elliot, Catherine Kavanaugh. Where's Anna?" Her smile broadens at Elliot, and I'm surprised by his answering grin. "I think she went outside for some fresh air," Kavanaugh responds, but she doesn't look at me. She has eyes only for Mr. Love-'em and Leave-'em. Well, it's her funeral. "Outside? Where?" I shout. "Oh, that way." She points to double doors at the far end of the bar. Pushing through the throng, I make my way to the door, leaving the three disgruntled men and Kavanaugh and Elliot engaged in a grin-off. Through the double doors, there is a line for the ladies' washroom, and beyond that, a door that's open to the outside. It's at the back of the bar. Ironically, it leads to the parking lot where Elliot and I have just been. Walking outside, I find myself in a gathering space adjacent to the parking lot, a hangout flanked by raised flower beds, where a few people are smoking, drinking, chatting, making out. I spot her. Hell. She's with the photographer, I think, though it's difficult to tell in the dim light. She's in his arms, but she seems to be twisting away from him. He mutters something to her, which I don't hear, and kisses her along her jaw. "Jose, no," she says, and then it's clear. She's trying to push him off. She doesn't want this. For a moment, I want to rip his head off. With my hands fisted at my side, I march up to them. I think the lady said no. My voice carries, cold and sinister, in the relative quiet, while I struggle to contain my anger. He releases Anna, and she squints at me with a dazed, drunken expression. "Gray," he says, his voice terse, and it takes every ounce of my self-control not to smash the disappointment off his face. Anna heaves, then buckles over and vomits on the ground. Oh, shit. Ugh, Dios mío, Anna.
Streets like a jungle, so call the police. Following the herd down to Greece. On holiday, loving the 90s. It's paranoid on sunny beaches. Take your chances. Looking for girls who are boys, who like boys, who be girls, who do boys like their girls, who do girls like their boys. Always should be someone you really love. Girls who are boys, who like boys, who be girls, who do boys like their girls, who do girls like their boys. Always should be someone you really love.
Jose leaps out of the way in disgust. Fucking idiot. Ignoring him, I grab her hair and hold it out of the way as she continues to throw up everything she's had this evening. It's with some annoyance that I note she doesn't appear to have eaten. With my arm around her shoulders, I lead her away from the curious onlookers toward one of the flower beds. If you're going to throw up again, do it here. I'll hold you. It's darker here. She can puke in peace. She vomits again and again, her hands on the brick. It's pitiful. Once her stomach is empty, she continues to retch, long, dry heaves. Boy, she's got it bad. Finally, her body relaxes and I think she's finished. Releasing her, I give her my handkerchief, which by some miracle I have in the inside pocket of my jacket. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Wiping her mouth, she turns and rests against the bricks, avoiding eye contact because she's ashamed and embarrassed. And yet, I'm so pleased to see her. Gone is my fury at the photographer. I'm delighted to be standing in the parking lot of a student bar in Portland with Miss Anastasia Steele. She puts her head in her hands, cringes, then peeks up at me, still mortified. Turning to the door, she glares over my shoulder. I assume it's at her friend. I'll, see you inside, Jose says, but I don't turn to stare him down. To my delight, she ignores him too, returning her eyes to mine. I'm sorry, she says finally, while her fingers twist the soft linen. Okay, let's have some fun. What are you sorry for, Anastasia? The phone call, mainly being sick. Oh, the list is endless, she mumbles. We've all been here, perhaps not quite as dramatically as you. Why is it such fun to tease this young woman? It's about knowing your limits, Anastasia. I mean, I'm all for pushing limits, but really, this is beyond the pale. Do you make a habit of this kind of behavior? Perhaps she has a problem with alcohol. The thought is worrying, and I consider whether I should call my mother for a referral to a detox clinic. Anna frowns for a moment, as if angry, that little V forming between her brows, and I suppress the urge to kiss it. But when she speaks, she sounds contrite. No, she says. I have never been drunk before, and right now I have no desire to ever be again. She looks up at me, her eyes unfocused, and she sways a little. She might pass out, so without giving it a thought, I scoop her up into my arms. She's surprisingly light, too light. The thought irks me. No wonder she's drunk. Come on, I'll take you home. I need to tell Kate, she says, as her head rests on my shoulder. My brother can tell her. What? My brother Elliot is talking to Miss Kavanaugh. Oh? He was with me when you called. In Seattle? No, I'm staying at the Heathman. And my wild goose chase has paid off.